You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today's Cabral HouseCall, our second of the weekend, we're actually going to be going through more of our community's questions like we do each and every weekend. We have about 8 questions to get through today, pretty amazing questions, and really looking forward to giving some different answers because I've gotten a couple questions actually overall this weekend that have never come up on any of our Cabral HouseCalls in the past. So this is going to be pretty great. We're going to go through some interesting questions, and I'm happy to help. So let's get right into it. Today's first question is from Nina. She writes in, Dear Dr. Cabral, thank you for the very reasonable, thorough, integrated information on your podcast and website. I feel I've benefited tremendously from what I've learned from you in some of your products. I'm wondering if you have a take on the efficacy of bioregulation therapy or pulsed electromagnetic field therapy in the devices that are supposedly provide these treatments. I won't read all the questions, and as always, please just go for everything I talk about today. Absolutely everything, every lab test, every product, every past episode. Go to stephencabral.com/618. And for those who spell Stephen with a V, I spell with a PH. So it's STEPHENCABRAL.com. And that's just 618. So /618. So to answer, or let me just read the last part, though, of Nina's question. And it says, my husband and sons have a range of inflammatory conditions, chronic back pain, arthritis, IBS, severe allergies, eczema, ADD, ADHD, difficulty sleeping, irritability, all sorts of different things going on. They don't want to change their food. They're on medication or daily habits. And part of the problem, perhaps, is they are too cranky, tired, and pessimistic to consider change. At any rate, I'm hoping to find some sort of therapy that might gain us some ground so that we have the fortitude to eventually try other changes. Thanks so much for your assistance, Nina. All right, Nina, I think you're on the right track. I totally agree that it's very difficult to get the results you want unless you get at least moving and started in the right direction. So that's the big thing. And unfortunately, we have to get your husband and your son starting to put better food in their body because that's where it starts. Whether you do anything such as BRT or bioregulation therapy, is that if the food they're eating is constantly causing inflammation and actually our immune response, a lot of people don't know this, but if you're eating degraded proteins, putrefied proteins, if you're eating food that's very inflammatory, such as hydrogenated fats and oils, all of these different things will actually lead to an immune-based response and not a good one at that. And then when your liver's finally fed up with having to detox all of these different things through your body, you're going to start to see some of the issues such as more inflammation, allergies, asthma. You're going to look at joint pain. You're going to see the eczema. So what I'm saying to you is that, well, for those who don't know, bioregulation therapy is literally the kind of science of getting the cells to communicate better with each other. So if we have 40 trillion cells in our body, we know that they do communicate with each other. Bioregulation therapy and their techniques help to actually, they use frequencies to help change the cellular response. Now, bioregulation therapy is not something that I use in my practice because I always go back to healing the body at its most fundamental levels. And I know that even though I'm not against modalities like bioregulation therapy and other modalities as well, I know that I can't get to what the eventual root cause will need to be fixed anyways, meaning like, okay, I can use these therapies, but I know at the very, very core, I need to change some things that are currently being done in someone's life that are leading to the symptoms that they have that we then give a disease name to. So again, like I understand it. I understand what you're talking about. Do I think it could help? Potentially. I'm telling you right now, my highest recommendation is just to have your husband, sons, if they're over 16, commit to a Dr. Cabral detox. Ideally a 21-day. If they do that, I'm telling you right now, it will change their life. They will feel so much different. They'll look so much better. They'll have so much more energy and their mood will be so much better after they get through that first week, of course. that they're going to want to pick up some of those habits. Remember, there's this, well, put it this way, success is not a straight line. So they're going to do great for a little while. They'll fall back into some old habits, but hopefully not all of them. Then they'll do some more good things and they'll fall back in a little bit more habits. But the whole time they're ramping up and everything is getting better each and every month, each and every quarter, each and every year. That's my highest recommendation to you, Nina. And I hope that they get the great results that you want them to. All right, Lisa is up next. Appreciate you and your staff. Here are my questions. What are your thoughts on hydrotherapy? What might cause the tingling in my legs or the jumpy legs, primarily at night, but also when I'm getting a pedicure? Now that I'm celiac and follow a paleo low glycemic lifestyle with a healthy diet of mainly fruits and veggies, little dairy, rice, and meat, exercise 3 to 5 days a week with moderate strength training, using weights, cardiovascular, elliptical. Thanks. Okay. So basically you're looking, what do you think of hydrotherapy? And then also you're thinking of what's causing the jumpy legs. Well, there could be many things that cause the restless leg syndrome and jumpy legs. I'll tell you right now, most people get rid of it just by adding more magnesium to their nutritional supplement plan. So here's what I'm going to recommend to you. 2 capsules of full spectrum magnesium at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then you can do a little bit of natural calm before bed, which is in our deep sleep protocol. If you'd like, use the deep sleep protocol along with the full spectrum magnesium. If it causes loose stool, you'll simply cut back on the natural calm. Instead of 2 teaspoons, you'll do the 1 teaspoon. If that doesn't work, feel free to write back in. I could give you so many different answers for this, but honestly, that's a very, very straightforward answer. I'd like you to try that, okay? Now, hydrotherapy is something that I'm very, very familiar with because when I got into this, I studied the 100-year-old, the 200-year-old texts on, they called it hydropathy, not just hydrotherapy. And these were things from Sebastian Neep, another famous doctor that I've studied quite a bit. I can never pronounce his last name, but it's Vincent Priesnitz. And amazing. These guys were called the natural hygienists. I know if you've been listening to the Cabral concept for a while, you've heard me talk about that I natural hygienist just sounds strange. It almost sounds like dental hygienist. So in terms of practicing functional medicine, probably not the right terminology, but I would love to consider myself more of a natural hygienist, meaning like really going back and using good whole foods, of using things like water therapy and a sauna and things like Epsom salt soak. So if you're talking about hydrotherapy or hydropathy or hydropathy, it used to be called water cure. And so these old school natural hygienists would actually take people into the forest and they would bathe them in natural springs. They would rest their bodies. So I don't know the specific type that you're talking about, but I'm all for water therapy because it does a huge, huge service to the body. What does it do? It calms that central nervous system. It calms the fight or flight, calms the sympathetic nervous system, and gets you into that parasympathetic. If you want to just use a bathtub or a hydrotherapy tub, great. Add some Epsom salt baths to that. Add some, that magnesium sulfate. So great for your body. Now, in terms of the tingly leg, I just want to get back to one thing. It could actually be, it's possible that you have a little bit of impingement on that hip. So I just wanted to add that because sometimes, if you're sitting down for pedicure, you can actually get a little bit of that inflammation in that piriformis. Okay, so that piriformis is right around that hip and that can get inflamed. That's called piriformis syndrome. And the last thing is the B vitamins. Sometimes when people have gut issues, poor digestion, weak digestion, again, you can test this using an organic acids test. Highest recommendation, run that test. I mean, that test right there will change your life. If you actually do the follow-up with my health coach and you take their recommendations, it's just such a great lab. It's amazing. Or you can just use the activated B vitamin to get some more B vitamins in your life. So bottom line, some magnesium, the daily nutritional support shake in the beginning, run an organic acids test if you'd like, maybe add a little bit more B vitamins, and you should be good to go. Adalyn's up next. Adalyn writes in, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I just purchased your 21-day Dr. Cabral detox, as well as your heavy metal detox. I have 2 questions. I'm interested in what to eat after in order to stay healthy and feel my best. I've heard you talk a lot about the ectomorph and endomorph body types and what works for their body types as far as a good diet to follow, but I want to ask what you would suggest for a good diet for a mesomorph body type. The second question is, what would be a good workout for a mesomorph body type to get ripped muscle definition? Well, here's the thing. The endomorph is the larger body type, larger calves. It does not mean overweight, okay? It doesn't mean overweight. More prone to become overweight, but not overweight. It just means larger calves, rounder head, more robust, kind of thicker torso, larger or just, wider hips. The ectomorph would be much thinner hips, much thinner, like no calves at all, very, very slender calves, very slender forearms, longer, more oval-shaped head, longer neck. Again, I'm going to do a whole seminar, all sorts of different things on this. But also, really, really important, The mesomorph, I guess we don't talk about it maybe as much, but broader shoulders, squarer head, more defined features like chiseled features, smaller nose. Like I already said that, broader shoulders, but that's a big thing with the mesomorph. More muscular body, able to put on more muscle. So now, once you finish your 21-day Dr. Cabral detox, you'll simply add some berries to your smoothie, continue with your daily nutritional support smoothie in the morning, or for extra credit, you could do the Dr. Cabral daily protocol, which is what I do every single morning. Can't recommend it enough. Highly recommend you do that. And then the mesomorph, so at lunch and at dinner, they can actually eat a little bit more protein. Out of all the body types, they have the strongest digestion. They're able to literally churn up lots of calories and burn them up and turn them into fuel for the body and also add muscle. So it kind of depends which way you're leaning. Are you more of a mesomorph endomorph that puts on weight easily, or a mesomorph ectomorph, which loses weight? And if you're that type, then you could use a little bit more protein, more than the other body types, at lunch and at dinner. So hopefully that helps. If you are vegan, you'll of course just get more chickpea, bean, hemp hearts-based protein. You could do an extra protein shake mid-afternoon to keep up with that mesomorph metabolism. Well, if you eat fish, you could obviously eat fish and meat at those 2 meals if you chose to. Now, what I recommend is after coming off the Dr. Cabral detox, continue with the smoothie in the morning. You can do the lunch and dinner that you choose, and then mid-afternoon snack is optional. If you get hungry quite often, like the mesomorph does, then you're welcome to do a mid-afternoon snack there too. Okay, workouts. Well, I published a book many years ago called A Man's Guide to Muscle and Strength. As I always say to people, because people think that I'm trying to sell it, I make about $1 per book. So I'm not, it costs like $13.50. My publisher does very well off of it. I do not. I don't write books to make money. I really don't. I write books to publish information. I want this information to come out to people, and I can't answer how to create a whole workout in a podcast. I know that's not what you're asking, so I'm not saying that. But of course, you get the whole year's worth of workouts in that one book. That's on my website as well, A Man's Guide to Muscle and Strength. It's in the store. So, that's a great thing to check out as well. And what else can I say? Well, a mesomorph can actually do a little bit more weight training, and they don't burn themselves out as easily. So they can do intervals. That's a really great thing. So you could do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday program, and that could work great for the mesomorph body type. It often does. And then on the weekends, you can do fun stuff, or you can do an extra set of intervals if you choose to. But that's what I would do. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday on. And then the weekends either off or just stay active. Just kind of do what you want to do to stay in great shape. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, Dan is up next. Hello, I'm writing to you due to the girlfriend about a pain I recently had. I went surfing the other day in a wetsuit and got out of the water, felt nauseous. In about 5 minutes, I had severe cramping in my head. I felt like the muscles around my skull were cramping around my forehead, not like a throbbing headache, felt more muscular to me. The pain cramping started in the middle of the forehead, then seemed to wrap around the sides, lasted about an hour and a half. I massaged my head and it seemed to dissipate. Have you ever heard of this? Is this something I should be worried about? What could have caused this? Okay. So first of all, thank your girlfriend for writing in. She sounds great. So what I want to say is what we want to do in this situation when we say like, wow, just got out of the water, head's cramping, have no idea what caused this. We have to go back to, we call it Occam's razor, right? So we want to go back to like the simplest answer is most likely the correct answer. But I'm going to give you a lot of different answers. Okay. The simplest answer is this. Change of season, if you're anywhere around where the water gets a little colder, and if it felt like the same cramp you get if you drink something cold too fast, you know what I'm talking about? Meaning like if you have a really cold, not even like a smoothie, but it was something even colder than that, and you just, or an acai bowl, I've eaten that way too fast, and my head just got that like brain freeze. Because again, we're not having a conversation back and forth, or of course I can answer this for you. But here's the thing. The brain freeze is what it sounds like you're getting right now. The actual constriction, the vasodilation and constriction of those arteries actually in your head. And you're talking about the temporal artery right around that forehead. So it's, again, one possibility. I don't know if this is happening or not, but I'm assuming if it was just that one time, possible that you're going from the submersion or the wet water to then out of the water. Possible. Okay, what else could it be? It could be a drop in blood sugar. You've been surfing, you've been expending a lot of energy, and that's absolutely possible as well. Okay, the other thing could be a drop in blood pressure. Very, very possible. You're out there, again, you're getting a little bit more fatigued. You might be more of the ectomorph body type. You're actually sweating. A lot of people don't know this. When you sweat in the water, when you're surfing, because I actually work with surfers, you're losing sodium as well. Could have a drop in blood pressure. That could cause the headache as well. How can you find these things out? Well, If it ever happens again, you can actually test your blood sugar with a simple glucometer. You could keep right in the glove compartment of your car or truck. And you can keep a blood pressure monitor. Like that would tell you definitively, oh, it's low blood sugar. That's what's causing this. Oh, it's low blood pressure. That's what's causing this. And then as an aside, before you go out swimming, what you might want to do to combat the blood sugar and combat the blood pressure issue is just make yourself a little natural electrolyte solution. I call it my natural Gatorade. I squeeze a lime into a big thing of water. I do a couple shakes of sea salt in it as well. So I've got my potassium, I've got my sodium. That's going to get me going. And then typically what I do as well, probably a half hour before I finish it, that's a smoothie. So I do a kind of a pre-workout smoothie if I'm going to expend a lot of energy. And that seems to work out really great for me. And so hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully it answers your question. And once again, you should thank your girlfriend. All right, Jess is up next. Jess is asking, hello, my husband has been complaining about heartburn on and off now for the past few months. Sore throat off and on, acid reflux pains. He's been taking baking soda, which seems to provide relief. Couple of questions. What causes heartburn? 2, does lemon water help with heartburn? 3, he has toenail fungus that won't go away. Any connection? 4, how to prevent what to do when it happens? Thank you so much for everything you do. We need to clone you. Thank you, Jess. I see. Does anybody else see a pattern here? It looks like a lot of women writing in to help their significant others. And then in our last question, Dan's girlfriend made him write in. So pretty funny, but also pretty great. I think it's fantastic. And there might be more of that to come. So let's answer this question. I'll do a whole show on heartburn. I know it's a really big thing. Acid reflux, GERD, indigestion. So definitely what I'm going to do is a whole show on that. Okay. So many different things. All right. So what could cause heartburn? Well, we actually have too much acid being produced potentially because of stress. Second thing, there's a hiatal hernia. So there's actually a hernia right around where the esophagus opens. So it doesn't allow that, what's called the lower esophageal sphincter to close. Okay. That's a possibility. Number 3 is that there actually is too little stomach acid, which means that there's no call to the brain to tell the lower esophageal sphincter at the bottom of the esophagus to stay closed. So now you have, improper food combining, improper digestion, fermentation, actually pushing a little bit of acid up into the esophagus. That's a possibility. H. pylori, or actual bacterial overgrowth in the stomach, certainly sounds like your husband has that. That's a real possibility as well. So what can you do? Well, he has toenail fungus as well. Almost guaranteed that he has some type of fungal infection. Almost guaranteed that he has some type of candida-based infection in his gut. I would run the urine-based test. I mean, really, run the organic acids test. I just feel like guys need more data than women. And I'm a guy, so I fall into the same category. I always say, show me the data, show me the data, show me the data. So yes, I'm an old school. I'm not really old school, but I believe in the old school natural hygienist. I believe in the old school naturopathy, all of that. But I use state-of-the-art medicine. I like the research. I read the research. It's what I appreciate. And then I just go about rebalancing the body from an older perspective, of course, using the best of today as well. So I run the organic acids test for sure. That's going to look at candida overgrowth, and you can actually prove it to your husband. It's a simple urine-based test. You literally just fill up half a jar, this little jar, and you mail it away to FedEx. Very, very simple. We ship them to the US and Canada for those. That's that. That's how you can prove it. And what happens when he gets it? Well, I would at least use Healthy Belly. Well, I would use the gut rebuilding protocol. So I would use the Healthy Belly as well as the Healthy Gut Support, which help to repair that stomach, repair the mucosa so that he doesn't get ulcers. That's kind of important. And if he has a really bad attack of acid reflux, mix 1 teaspoon of baking soda, which is alkaline, in a glass of water, and he can sip on that. It's just kind of like a natural form of Alka-Seltzer, and it will help to calm and cool the digestive tract. Hopefully, Jess, that helps and gets you started on your way. Okay, so Anonymous is up next. Anonymous is asking, my husband believes he needs to eat meat for protein. I told him this isn't so, but of course he won't take my word for it. Can you please set him straight and also add top veggies, beans, grains with most protein? I don't know what that part means, but thank you. All right. So again, we have more of this continuing theme. Anonymous is asking for a husband, do you need to eat meat for protein and iron, or could you live off of a vegan or vegetarian diet? I did a Instagram post about this many months ago. You can go to Instagram.com/Stephen Cabral. And of course, you can see all of my Instagram posts there. I'm going to be I post there every day with the podcast, all that good stuff, but I'll be getting back into doing my daily posts as well. I just have it's not a great excuse, but I just have a lot going on with the book and the wellness center and private concierge practice, all that. But of course, I'll be back posting those on a nightly basis as well. So let's get to your question, though, on the plant-based forms of iron. Okay, so Anonymous, what I'm going to do is actually point you towards those podcasts that will help you get the true answer, because just let your husband know, and of course, you know yourself, that I literally just speak the truth. Like, that's the bottom line. So you can get iron from animal protein. There's no doubt about that. And you can get protein from animal tissue as well. But if you're vegan or you're vegetarian, you don't need to eat meat if you don't want to. You can get your iron-based sources from plants as well. We've all heard of spinach. That's just one. Pumpkin seeds is another great one. Pepitas. So what I'm going to do is just link up the show notes for those shows and just go actually answer this question on episode 169. So if you go to stephencabral.com/169 and also a follow-up on 174 and a follow-up on 400, I give all that information in depth because this is an in-depth one. So I actually talk about hemi-iron. I talk the differences between getting it from animal protein and actually plant-based protein and how absorbable it really is in plant-based protein as well. You do need to make sure that your digestion is strong enough. So again, you could use a daily digestive enzyme. You know, for those people who aren't using a daily digestive enzyme, it's so fantastic. I mean, if you just want to get more out of your whole food, meaning be able to digest more, absorb more nutrients, it's called the daily digestive enzyme. It actually contains not only enzymes to break down proteins through proteases and fats and carbohydrates, but it contains bromelain and papain as well. Really, really nice to add a little bit of heat for the stomach as well. All right, so hopefully that helps and gets you started. And of course, I give all the answers there. Nikki's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Been recently introduced to your podcast and decided to look into your methods and try some about 2 years ago. Lost 100 pounds, now weigh around 150. Right after the weight loss, I had onset anxiety and panic attacks so bad I had to quit my job. Did a lot of research, couldn't find much real answers as to why. After listening to your podcast, tried the detox, did the shakes, still got more anxiety. Any ideas? I drink homemade kefir. I do a vegan protein powder. I eat pretty much paleo diet. I'm active. All of these things. Really appreciate your podcast. Love your podcast. Okay, great. Nikki, great question. So here's the thing. You've had the anxiety since you lost the weight. I'm really worried that you became nutrient deficient when you lost this weight. And that happens. It's not just you. So I want you to know that like this isn't just you. I see this all the time in my practice. People go less calories. And a lot of times with less calories means less nutrition, unfortunately. So my highest recommendation is you don't have to do the Dr. Cabral detox, but I would love you to do that shake at least to start and make a smoothie out of it. Put 1 cup of wild blueberries, put a cup of spinach in there, put your water in. You can do a little bit of almond milk. By the way, these smoothie recipes are free at stephencabral.com/podcast. And then just pick any podcast. There's a little like image that links to the free smoothies. So that's for everybody. I try to give away all my information for free as possible so that people can start living a healthier lifestyle. And then I would also love you, Nikki, to be doing the daily fruit and vegetable blend. And if you could do the whole Dr. Cabral Daily Protocol, even better, because it's not about calories that your body needs. It's about nutrients, nutrition. And so by doing a functional medicine product like the Daily Nutritional Support and doing the daily fruit and vegetable blend plus the probiotic every day, you're giving your body pretty much the foundation of everything that it needs. So here's the thing though, it might be too powerful for your body right now. Maybe it is. It's very, very rare, but that's possible. And so remember, bioindividuality, I believe in it. And that's why it might just be overpowering for you right yet. So why don't we do the shake, none of the detox capsules? And then also, I would start using 2 capsules of the full spectrum magnesium at breakfast, lunch, and dinner to help calm the anxiety. I would certainly run a hair tissue mineral analysis before you do anything. If you could, the hair tissue mineral analysis, if you can run the hair tissue mineral analysis and the organic acids test, those are my 2 favorite. If I had to pick 2, it would be that. Hair tissue mineral analysis gives you analysis on all of your minerals, heavy metals, and the organic acids test gives you all your vitamins, B vitamins, vitamin C, but it also allows you to see if there's any candida overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth. So that would be great. You could do a little natural calm powder at night. I'm telling you, you can fix all of this. You really can. You just have to start going a little bit deeper as to what's going on inside your body. All right, I want to answer one more question really quick. So Nikki, hopefully that helped you. This is more pointing people in the right direction. Claire writes in, hi, Dr. Cabral, I have a question about tooth cavities and if they can be healed or at least stopped. My dentist says that I have a cavity on one of my wisdom teeth around the gum line. The tooth has grown in sideways on a 45-degree angle towards my cheek, so the side with the cavity is hard to brush and often gets food stuck in the area. I've been diligent about cleaning it, but I worry it's getting worse. My dentist says because of the angle, he isn't able to get a drill back there to fill it, and if it gets any worse, I may have to have it removed, which I would like to avoid. Is there anything I could do to halt this progress, diet or cleaning-wise? What happens if I just leave the cavity to get worse rather than have the tooth removed? Will it affect other teeth? Thank you for your help, Claire. So, Claire, I know a lot about oral medicine, oral hygiene, but I'm not a dentist. I'm not an expert in this field, but I can point you to people who are. If you go to iaomt.org, we'll link that up today at stephencabral.com/618. So if you go to that website, it's the International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology. It's who I point people to when they want to have their mercury amalgams removed, when they want to look at different types of metals that are in their mouth currently, or if they're reactive. Really great, so like they went to dental school, dental medical school, and then they went on for additional training. We're talking like really great high-level practitioners here. But I also answered the same question on yesterday's show, episode 617. So I want you to go back to yesterday's show on cavities, and I want you to listen to how I made recommendations for sesame oil pulling. I want you to do that for 5 minutes to 10 minutes every single morning. I want you to try that, okay? You can even do it twice a day if you want. That's helped a lot of people to stop the progression of cavities and actually start to heal some of the cavity itself, meaning like remove the bacteria. The other thing you can do is you can check out that show and also use the remineralizing toothpaste that I talk about there. There's a lot of great brands, but there's just one I talk about, the lucky one for the mouthwash and toothpaste. So hopefully that helps at least move you in the right direction, and you should be fine. I mean, you really should. I think you can at least halt the progression of the cavity itself. And again, you'll meet up with a really good biological dentist that's next level that can then just give you very specific instructions later down the line if it needs to be removed and then what you would want to do from there. So again, hopefully that helps. Thank you everyone for tuning into another Cabral House Call. Really happy to be able to answer all of your questions this week, and be sure to tune back in tomorrow for our Motivation and Mindset Monday. Take care. Hope you had a great weekend, and I'll talk with you tomorrow. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stephencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.